Hi, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. My name is Brian Dar. I'm with Expium, and you are hopefully here to learn about Jira Service Management for ITSM. This will take about 50 minutes, and we're going to go through a whole lot of examples. A little bit about myself before we begin. I'm a solutions architect here at Expium. I'm also a SAFE program consultant. I hold a handful of ITIL certifications as well, and I'm also an Atlassian certified expert, which is an interesting title. So this webinar is actually a follow-on from another webinar that we did last week. And we do these webinars periodically, about once every 2 months. So the one we did last week was called Jira Service Management Fundamentals. And this is all about everything Jira Service Management except the ITSM features. So Jira Service Management can be used for a lot of different use cases. For example, an HR service desk or a facilities service desk. And there's a lot to know about JSM just at its core. So in that webinar, we discussed the features that are provided through the JSM project type. We discussed the elevated agent costs and the free customers. We discussed the customizable customer portal. Well, that's an interesting way to say that. We discussed prioritized customizable queues, SLAs, knowledge bases, and automation for repetitive tasks. So if you didn't catch that webinar, you can actually find it on our YouTube channel. And again, we do it periodically. So we're not actually going to talk about most of that stuff in this webinar. In this webinar, we're going to talk about everything ITSM that comes on top of Jira Service Management. So when you do ITSM, IT Service Management with Jira Service Management, you're actually using a bunch of different products in addition to Jira Service Management. One of those products that we're going to see today is Insight, which is for asset and configuration management. Insight is an additional relational database available in Jira Service Management. It comes natively and is only available with Jira Service Management Premium on cloud and data center for on-prem installations. So we're going to see some of that today, but I just want you to get an idea of all the different products involved in this service management platform. But again, Insight rolls seamlessly into the product. So just know that you have to be on that tier in order to get those features. We're also going to see Opsgenie, which is also native with Jira Service Management Cloud Premium. It is a separate product for data center, and that's what's going to handle our alert and incident management when we talk about incident management today. Automation for Jira is a lovely little thing that comes with all deployments of Jira now. It's native with Jira Service Management Cloud Premium. It is a separate product for data center as well. And it actually comes with all levels of cloud, but in order to get unlimited rule executions, you need to be on Premium. Lastly, we're going to see Statuspage as well, which is a separate product that is for external and internal customer communication relating to incidents. So those are the products we're going to see today in addition to Jira Service Management. And then we're going to do 3 different demos. If you're familiar with different ITIL areas, under service management, we're going to see service management as well as asset management. We're going to touch very briefly on service configuration management, but that's not the focus of today's demo. We're going to look at incident management, and we're going to touch very briefly on problem management, but again, not the major focus. And then we're going to talk about change enablement. Knowledge management and enterprise service management we cover in the fundamentals webinar. All right, really quick before we get started, why would you be talking to Expium and not Atlassian about this? Well, Atlassian has a network of platinum solution partners, and Expium is one of them. It's the highest tier of solution partner. And so we, as a solution partner, we specialize in training, consulting, and custom development. So we do free webinars like this. We do live, in-person, and online public training. We do private training. You name a product in the Atlassian ecosystem, we will happily train your admins and users on that product. We also do consulting, so customizations, implementations, migrations, all of that stuff we do as well. And then we also have a full stack custom development shop. So if we can't build it in the tool and we can't find it on the marketplace, we can certainly build it for you separately. All right, so let's talk about asset and service management. And we're going to do a live demo in the tool in a minute. So this is for service teams and IT teams specifically. And the challenge is sometimes it's hard to easily track and manage your assets as well as the services relating to those assets. And the solution that we're going to show today is an easy to maintain asset database that seamlessly integrates with our ticketing system when we're doing service requests. And the tools we're going to use are Jira Service Management, Insight, and Automation for Jira. So speaking of some of the pain points, agents often deal with predictable tasks which consume their time and their customers' time. It's often difficult to visualize your assets and configuration items and the dependencies between them, which makes the delivery of services a little bit more difficult. Additionally, a lot of companies have an asset database, but many are either in Excel or they're not closely integrated with a separate ticketing system. And so when this happens, the databases are often not kept current. One of my coworkers' previous employers used to have everyone fill out an asset sheet every 6 months, and that's just a very hard way to maintain. So what we're going to do today is show Insight, which is maintaining a database of our assets, and we're going to see that tie seamlessly with our ticketing system, so that when somebody requests a new laptop, the agent can easily fulfill that request, and that request automatically keeps the customer's laptop assets up to date. So we're going to look at an end-to-end example of a user who has a broken laptop. We're going to look at reporting that broken equipment and then switch to an agent view to fulfill that request. So in order to do that, I'm going to switch over to this window. All right, so here I am in the Jira Service Management portal, which we introduced in the last webinar. And basically, I've landed in the Help Center, and I'm going to click on our IT service desk. And then I'm going to report a computer issue. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say I need to request a new laptop. So I'm Brian Dar. I need a new laptop because my current equipment is damaged. And extra notes: a cat spilled milk on laptop. And then here is the first example of where we see our asset database coming into this ticket. This field is pulling in asset objects in our other database, which are supported hardware objects. We actually have 4 different supported laptops, but this one is pulling in laptops that are currently supported and have not expired. So we have, or my user would like a MacBook Pro 13-inch from 2020, and I'm going to submit this ticket. All right, that's the customer view. Now we're going to change hats, and we're going to turn around and be an agent, and we're going to fulfill this task. So again, took off my customer hat, put on my agent hat. All right, the first thing that I can see as an agent is I can see the laptop model that the customer requested. And the laptop model comes with a lot of different properties to it. And so I can see the vendor, the screen size, the CPU, the RAM, the storage. So I don't have to have any conversations with the user. This is the laptop they chose. And then over on the right side, under these context fields, I can see that Vicky Murphy is an approver. The customer's boss happens to be Vicky. And so actually what happened in the background here is once this ticket was submitted, an automation ran that went and found the customer's department's manager's Jira user and put them in the approver field. So Vicky just got an email saying Brian needs a laptop approved. So you can already see that this has saved people a lot of time. We're not hunting down managers. Vicky was automatically notified. She'll come in and she'll wind up coming up here and just clicking approve, and it'll go right through. A second automation has also run in the background. That automation went and found the customer's laptop, their current laptop, and attached it to the ticket. So as an agent, I can see that this person, is currently using this laptop with this serial number. I can see when their current laptop expires. Hey, it just expired yesterday. Well, that's great. Time for a new laptop anyway. And actually, this is important because I can see their warranty expiration date, so I can tell if we need to go get that repaired under warranty or not. So we've saved a lot of time by connecting our asset database here. I think we've actually saved a whole bunch of time here. And a third rule also ran in the background that marked this laptop from active to damaged. So this means that I, as an agent, don't have to remember to update the asset. I don't have to log into a different system. I don't have to wait until my department sends around a spreadsheet every 6 months. My asset database was just kept up to date without any effort. Yeah. So let's fulfill this and let's go into Insight and actually, look at the available laptops to give to this user. So if I switch over here, I can actually go to More and then Insight. I already have that open here in another tab. We see the different schema available to us. So if you're used to Jira, Jira has projects that have issues inside of them. Insight has schema that have objects inside of them. And you can have any kind of object you want. So in this case, we do have a CMDB, configuration management database. It's got about 8,000 objects in here, and that's the shape of this company's network, and all the objects and the configuration in that network. We have another example is a CRM. We also have a list of employees, and then here the one we're going to focus on is IT employee assets. So I'm going to click in here. And I can see in this tree over here, I've got laptops, monitors, and phones, like actual real-life laptops, monitors, and phones. And then I have metadata about them, location, vendors, and then these supported hardware models, which we saw earlier. So if I click into laptops, and I'm going to change the view here to, oops, let me shrink this back down. There we go. Change the view to the list view, which is much more helpful in Jira and Jira Service Management. So here I get a list of all of the laptops in our company, including the status. And also, if I want to, I can come into columns and I can add the owner as well. And so I can see who has those laptops right now. So here's my laptop. It's damaged up here. And just like before, from the ticket, I can click into this laptop. I can also get a graph of this laptop to see how it relates to everything. So this laptop relates to Brian, and it also relates to our supported hardware model of a MacBook Pro 13-inch. If I double click on Brian, I can also get other things relating to Brian too. Let me shrink the screen to make it look better. So I can see that Brian is related to St. Louis. I can see that Brian works for IT. I can see that Brian has a certain phone. So everything's related here, and we can see all of these relationships very, very easily within Insight. So if I'm going to fulfill this request, I'm going to come back to the list of laptops, and I'm going to filter down, and I'm going to look for, let's see, I know he requested a MacBook Pro 13-inch, and I'm looking for things that are in St. Louis because that's where he is according to his employee object. And I can see that I have one laptop in stock ready to go to give to Brian. And so I can turn around, give that laptop, and then update, basically just come in here. I can change this, I can add an owner, or I could actually set up a whole new workflow elsewhere in Jira, and I could have a fulfillment workflow that actually does this all automatically. So that's how you can use Insight and Jira Service Management to do equipment, impair, and replacement, empower your agents to get more done with more information and save a lot of time. Also, we're going to be doing Q&A at the end of this, so please feel free, if you have any questions, you can start loading them up in the Q&A box. I'm not going to answer them quite yet, but we'll get to them at the end. All right, let's switch over to incident management now. All right, so incident management, this is for IT operations teams. The challenge is how do we respond quickly to get things back on track and to ensure proper follow-up when an incident happens? How do we get everybody together swarming around the same thing in the same tools? And so the solution is going to be a centrally managed alerting system, tracking of deployments and service relationships, an incident command center, and integrated communications. And to do this, we're going to watch Jira Service Management, Opsgenie, Statuspage, and Confluence all integrate seamlessly together. So in this situation, I'm going to show, let me get here. Yeah, so, sorry, I just totally lost my train of thought. Let me talk a little bit about pain points too. Again, a lot of people have tools that don't talk to each other. They have a service desk, they have a different incident management system, they have a different alerting system. Some people have communication management problems during an incident. They need to communicate with internal and external stakeholders, and that's managed across too many systems. And oftentimes the tool configuration is difficult because our systems are always evolving, and so our ticketing and alerting system should also evolve with our systems. So the solution we're going to see here today is to use Opsgenie, which collects and routes all of your monitoring tools to the appropriate people. And then we're going to see that integrate with Jira Service Management, which has an online incident command center, which is integrated with your communications tools. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop back into Jira, and we're going to submit a problem here. So I'm going to report a system problem as a user. Can't use website. And, oops, sorry, did not mean to open that knowledge base article. Describe the problem that has occurred. Cannot, website is down. What are the affected services? Well, specifically, the website. How urgently does this need to be fixed? It's critical. It's a very important piece of our business, and it seems widespread. So we're going to submit this ticket. Fantastic. Now let's come back into our incident queue as an agent and refresh. All right, so I've got my website is down ticket that was just, I'm sorry, I've got my can't use website ticket right here. And I can see that actually there's a couple other tickets here that were also submitted relating to this. So the first thing I can do is I can link these two tickets. I can link them as, well, let's say duplicates or is caused by, and I can mark this, this ITSD 349. And basically this way I can make this can't use website ticket a master ticket. And I can have automations in the background run that will close all of the children tickets later on once I resolve this ticket. So that'll be quite helpful too, because I'm sure you're used to getting a lot of reports whenever a major system is down. So how do I deal with this as an agent? I'm going to unselect these first. I'm going to hop in here, and I'm going to start looking at the system. So the first thing I see is I've got an affected service, which was added in the initial ticket creation. And services are things that transcend multiple Jira products. They connect to code repos, they connect to alerting systems, and they connect to this ticketing system. So if I expand this service, I can see that there is one open incident on the service, which is actually the incident I'm looking at right now. But everywhere else that this service appears elsewhere in Jira, people are going to see that there is an open incident, and this is a problem. We can also see that we have these two linked issues ready to go. Additionally, I've got this section here called Changes on Affected Services. And since I have an affected service with this ticket, I can actually see all of the changes that were made in the last 3 months. So ITSD 299, there was a website update that went through recently. So I can now click into here and I can find out when that was done, and maybe that was the reason for the incident. And then I have all of my other changes made as well. And I can also hunt down similar requests also, which will do summary searches. So now I have a lot of context right around this ticket already. Over here, I can mark this as a major incident, which bumps it over into our major incident queue. It also gives a nice big lozenge up here. And there's a lot of things I can do right here from the ticket to start this incident, which is why it was important to mark this ticket as a master ticket. First thing I can do is I can start a conference bridge here. It opens up a native conference bridge within Jira Service Management. I can create a chat channel in Slack or Teams, which will actually be titled, or at least the default title is the issue key here. And then I can add additional responders to this if I want to, and then have Opsgenie send out alerts to it. So as I learn more and more people that have to respond. At some point, I'm going to want to start managing communication. So I'm going to start adding important stakeholders into this system. I can assign a support team. And once I add the stakeholders here, because this is an incident, I have 3 different comment methods. I can do internal notes, which is most of what we're going to be doing, but I can also click Inform Stakeholders, and this is going to create a stakeholder-specific message and send it out to the stakeholders as I keep them updated about this incident. So we already have reporting and incident command all happening right at once. Let's go look at the alerting side of this as well to see what happened over in Opsgenie. Let's see. So another thing that happened in the background is that whenever that service has an incident attached to it, Opsgenie comes over here and we see an incident raised, and it alerted the IT operations team. This, by the way, is Opsgenie, which is an alerting system that works hand in hand with Jira Service Management. And basically what Opsgenie does is it takes all of your monitoring tools and it routes those alerts appropriately to different teams based on the services. And the website service that I added to the ticket over in JSM also relates over here into Opsgenie. So here we see we had a heartbeat website not responding alert go out just a little while ago. And as a first responder, as someone responsible for the website, I can come in here and I can acknowledge this. I can also acknowledge it on my phone. I can acknowledge it in the portal. I could get text messages or emails about this. And then what I can do is I've got some actions here. I can unacknowledge it. I can escalate it to the next person. I can add another responder. Or I've got this action down here called Restart AWS. So maybe, before this even gets any worse, I can just click that, and that's going to run in the background. It's going to contact AWS, provide the right credentials, and do the right restart sequence. And that's because that is an action that I have configured already that will appear on alerts like this when they pop up. Additionally, you see the other incidents raised here, and I can link all these together. So if I click into this, we also see an entire history of who needs to respond to this. We can see that that a number of people are supposed to respond. We can see the whole history of the activity log, and it was sent to my entire team because I did not acknowledge this fast enough. So speaking of that, let's go look at the team and see who's getting notified in the background while we're dealing with this. So first, there's this who's on call section. I can hop into my IT ops schedule, and this is my IT operations team. And so I've got this rotation set up. We've got one person on each day, and then for 1 week we have one person handling nights, and then over the weekends we have a different person. And I can come in here and I can take on call for an hour from somebody else if they need me to, or I can submit a shift change in this system. And I can also choose how to get the alerts that I want. So this is really customizable specifically for the end user to know how they want to get alerted. Or I can apply a policy to all of my users that forces how they get alerted as well. My team as well, which is my IT ops team, there are different ways that we can have incidences come through to my team. So every time we get an alert, if it's a priority 1 or 2, I can force it through an escalation schedule. And if it's not, I can just alert whoever's on call right now. My escalation schedule looks like this. So initially, the first person on call is alerted. After 5 minutes, if they don't acknowledge, the next user on call is alerted. And after 5 minutes from there, if nobody acknowledges, the entire team gets woken up, basically. And then this is where I actually configure that schedule down here that you saw earlier. So speaking of alerting people, the incident responders aren't the only people that we need to alert. We saw back here on the ticket, oops, sorry, let me come here, that we can add stakeholders to this incident in Jira Service Management, and we can notify the stakeholders that way. But what about the people that we don't want to be specifically messaging? What about our just broader broader audience that just needs to be generally updated. Well, for that, we're going to use another application called Statuspage. Let me log in here. Statuspage is a separate, basically signpost out in the wilderness that everybody can go look at to see what services are running. There's actually, if you use any Atlassian products, like you probably do, if you're in here, you can actually see Atlassian's status page about Jira software. Or here, how about Jira Service Management, which we're using right now to demo this. And we can see that all of the components for Jira Service Management are currently operational. We can see a history of past incidences. Yeah, and then we can see on August 18th, there was a workflow approval configuration page problem. So in our world right now, we could create an incident. Website is down. And we can say we are investigating. And if I could spell right, that would help a lot. And this affects our website component, which is currently experiencing a major outage. And create. All right, so now everybody that comes to our status page will be able to see that the website is down. You can see here that we have a major outage currently. You can see the history of our mobile app and payment system. And this can be an internal status page or an external status page. And what's nice is if I come in and I want to submit, another ticket in the portal, so let me just come here and come back to our portal. Whenever there's an open status page incident out there, I can have this little thing pop up within the portal to help deflect extra tickets. So it's going to say, website is down, please view status page. And then people are hopefully not going to submit any additional tickets. And that'll save all of my agents a lot of time and also make customers a lot happier because they're staying well informed. So what happens after I finish my incident? Well, I'm going to come here. I'm going to go through the process of solving this problem. Once it's done, we're going to come here. We're going to mark it as completed. And then we're going to run some automation that is going to automatically create a page in Confluence that is going to be a post-incident review. And I've got an example over here. Web store is down, postmortem report. And this is just a template that shows up in Confluence if I want to use it. And I can customize the template for my own company's needs. And this has all of the information, the related tickets, the incident responders, the executive summary of this incident. It's going to drop a timeline in. So we're going to see everything that happened related to that incident. And we can log all that here. We can turn it into a problem later on if we need to. Once we have a workaround, that's fine. But if we need to solve this, we can create a problem ticket and we can prioritize that later on and update all of that. And then we would come back over here to our status page. We would come to our incident. We would update it. Oops, sorry, where's my update button? And we would work through all the way to resolved. Say we're back to operational. We're back. Thank you for your patience. Update that. And now my instance resolved. My tickets are closed. And meanwhile, I can have an automation run in the background that closes all of my link tickets, like I mentioned before. So all of those can automatically get closed as well. So that's how you can use Opsgenie and Jira Service Management to manage incidents and tool alerts synchronously within your ecosystem without having to context switch. There's a lot more to learn about Opsgenie, by the way. It's a very impressive product. You can have heartbeats. You can have it connect to other companies' status pages, so you can have your teams alerted when external services go down that your company depends on. For example, Zoom. You can subscribe to Zoom status page and get everybody updates whenever Zoom has an outage. You can also set up maintenance windows and alert policies for that. You can integrate it with Statuspage. It's a very impressive product. All right. The last demo that I want to show today is around change management. Let's close all this. All right. So there's a lot to show in change management. But first, let me just kind of describe the problem here. All right, so this is for change managers and developers, and it's going to make both of those teams' lives a lot easier. The challenge is we often struggle with managing risk, coordinating changes, and easing bureaucratic effort when it comes to change enablement. The solution is to use a change ticketing system that does automated risk assessment, automated ticket creation on certain types of deployments, and automated resolution where possible. We really want to automate our risk assessment. We really want to automate our change request creation by connecting our change management system to our code repo. We want to automate the approvals of low-risk changes. We want to track and gate deployments via our CI/CD pipeline and make them visible in our ticketing tool. Basically, we want to do as little manual work as possible. But we have to start somewhere. So let's show what it looks like to open a basic change management request. So I'm going to come back into Jira Service Management. I'm going to come into our servers and infrastructure, and I can click Request a Change here. So let's see. I'm going to open a ticket, and yeah, summary, change on payroll. And then I can attach an entire change, plan if I want to, or I can write the description in here. I can mark an effective service. So for example, this is on our inventory system. This is a standard change. Its impact is minor. Its urgency is low. The change risk is low. Change reason, maintenance. And then I can add my implementation plan, my backup plan, my test plan, my plan start, my planned end date, all that information. Drop that in here. And then if I change hats from the submitter to the approver, I'll land back here in Jira Service Management. And we can see that this requires an approval. We can also see our standardized change management workflow here, which has paths for emergency changes, as well as, so here we have an emergency change path here, straight down to implementing. We have a standard change path here down to waiting implementation, and we have a normal change path here that drops it down to planning. So this one workflow handles most of our change management, or actually all of our change management needs. There's also a change calendar rolled into this system. So if I come here to change calendar within Jira Service Management, I can see, and let's come to the month view, I can get a bird's eye view of all the changes coming up. Currently, we're dealing with that change that I just talked about. I've got a website upgrade coming on Sunday, an inventory system maintenance on the 14th, payroll system upgrade on the 17th. So I can start making changes within context, and all these tickets in Jira show up as calendar events here on my calendar. And I can come back in here to changes and get a list of all of my open changes, including the one that I just did. Something else interesting too is that because I have the affected service, if there's an incident on that service like we saw before, I will see that here. Additionally, there's also a risk summary. So this is pretty cool. So this is saying, hey, I don't have a planned start and planned end date yet. This is going to be a risky change if I can't plan it with everything else. We can see additional changes. Oh, sorry, here, let me actually add those dates, because that's what we're going to need to make this happen. So there's my dates. There we go. Let's start it from here, and let's end it the next day. Oops. Why? Oh man, this is the danger of live demos. Let's do it here. There we go. We'll end it here around. All right, excellent. So we have conflicting dates here. It's warning us about that. We can see all of our incidences here. If we click scan, there's no open incidences. We can also see other plan changes relating to that service as well. All here to help us make a better decision. But now let's look at how automation can actually speed up my deployment management. So I'm going to come to, let's see. Oh, and here's a different change enablement calendar that we can create if we want to over in Confluence using team calendars for Confluence. So you can see this everywhere. Let's come to this story here. I want to add Euro to my payroll project. This is a story in our payroll system project. This is going to be a tier 3 service that a developer is currently working on. So I can come to Bitbucket. Let me refresh. I can come to my payroll system as a developer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit a change here. So just as a quick example, I'm just going to update a README file. But this is going to simulate a commit on my payroll system. And we're just going to say that Brian's making this change. I'm going to make a commit into my system, make that commit. And now I can come back to my system. Oh, and you know what I didn't do? I did not reference the key. So let me do one more thing. Basically, if you make a commit onto a system and you reference a key, so for example, SSP 44, which is the key that I just had. Let me just do that again. Let's make one more change. And I do SSP 44, which is the story that my developer is working on. That's going to link this commit back to that ticket. And so we get context across our repo and across our ticketing system here. In a moment, we'll see this pop up. Yep, we see right here, we have one commit from 12 seconds ago. And I can hop over into that tool to see that. So now we're going to come into our service desk, and we're going to find in our completed changes, if I refresh here, there should be somewhere at the bottom here automatically a ticket created. And usually it takes a minute. Again, the danger of live demos. This is where it all breaks down. There we go, right here. Deployment 21 for our demo payroll system, branches to master. You see it was created just now. It's a standard change. Let's just open up that change and see what happened. So because I made a commit as a developer, Jira Service Management is watching that repo and said, hey, a commit was just made. It understands that that repo is working on a tier 3 system, and so it runs a couple things in the background. First, it adds the affected service to this ticket. It knows that it's a tier 3 service, and therefore, because it's not that important and because of the kind of change I made, this is a standard change. I'm sorry, first it looks at change risk, sets it as low, then it decides it is a standard change. Another automation picks this up and says, well, because it's a standard change, I'm going to go ahead and push it through the workflow as approved. So we have now done automated approvals for our standard changes. We had a change request created in the first place, and all our developer did was push commit back to the repo. So we just saved people a ton of time submitting change requests, waiting for change approvals. It all happened automatically in the background. I think this is extremely cool. I think this is going to save people a ton of time. Now, what happens if I have a normal change, not a standard change, but a normal change? Let's say that I've got a tier 1 service, and I've got gated deployments enabled on that. So for this demonstration, I'm going to work on the much more important mobile app system. I'm going to do a fake commit here in this system by just editing a file and running a pipeline that's going to automatically commit. Let's see, so let's just add my name to the list and commit. We're not going to tie this to any tickets because this is just an example. All right, so that kicks off a pipeline. And if I come here to pipelines, we're going to see that that's running in the background. It's currently in progress. And something else to talk about while this happens, because this does take a few minutes. So I'm going to show you services which are connecting all of this together. So if I come to my service desk and I come here to my services tab, you can see all of the services that we were talking about before, all of Zoom, website, payroll. Currently, we're working on the mobile app service. And this is what connects Jira Service Management to Bitbucket to Opsgenie. So let's see what happened. Let's refresh this. All right, so we see that this pipeline was actually paused. And in the meantime, a change on payroll ticket. Oh, sorry, not that one. There we go. We see that this deployment to our mobile app ticket, this was automatically created by that deployment. And this time it created a ticket that got stuck in authorize because it's a tier 1 service, and the automations we built in the background understand that and know this is a normal change, not a standard change, and normal changes require manual authorization. So again, though, we automatically added the affected service here, which connects this to incidences running on that and other changes, etc. We see a risk summary, incidences again. Once we approve this, and then move it from authorize into implementing, this then connects back to our repo, which understands that it has now been approved. And now this commit is going to continue its path to deployment. So that is an automated normal change, and there is successful deployment with gated deployment. So if you have a critical system, it will not allow deployments until a change ticket is automatically created and approved and implemented, and then it will let the deployment continue. So that is the end of the major demos for this. Just to recap, what we talked about is service management with an asset database integrated. We talked about incident management with alerting integrated. And now we just talked about change enablement with deployments and automated risk assessments enabled. So we do a lot of these webinars. If you found this useful, I hope you did. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas for how to use these products in your own environment. If you liked this, we have some other webinars coming up. We have a paid Jira Bootcamp and a paid Confluence Bootcamp coming up in September. We have a free Introduction to Portfolio Management webinar on September 15th. We have an Advanced Roadmaps class on September 19th, the Jira Service Management Bootcamp on September 20th and 21st. That one I actually really recommend. Oops. That is a 2-day intensive course all about how to administer Jira Service Management. If you have any questions about anything you saw here today, please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or send an email. I'm more than happy to answer these questions. I'm also going to wait around in case anybody has any questions on the webinar right now. But before that, I just want to say thank you very much for your attention and for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is worth your while. And we hope to see you again. So let's see if there's any questions. All right, it looks like there aren't any. Well, thank you very much again for your kind attention. I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend. See you next time.